helping you find your new way forward to the best years of your life. This is a New Way Forward podcast with your host, Paul Long.
I am definitely not into this poetic notion that life can be broken up into the seasons of the year, that youth is spring and young adulthood is summer, and then you have fall, and then you have winter. Yuck. No, that's just not the case anymore. I mean, that kind of poetic notion actually started centuries ago when 45 was the wonder of life, and yeah, it might have looked like this. In fact, 50, 60, 70 years ago, life might have looked like this because people were only living to 65 years old. Now it's completely different, if you allow it to be that way. Because instead of this, I want something more like this. Spring, summer, that means life and activity. And there's no reason to believe that your entire life can't be more like this. Which means getting past the assumptions and presumptions of age. The fact of the matter is that the way the world is today, and with increased health span and lifespan, this isn't our parents or our grandparents or our forefathers' retirement years. You get the metaphor that I'm going for here. It's escaping that assumption, presumption, and stereotype of what the later years of our life are supposed to be. And by the way, what the hell are the later years of our life? Oh, when I turn 50? Well, the way we're trending is that you can increase your health span, and people are, by moderately taking good care of yourself and living with purpose, living with a reason to get out of bed in the morning, living with something in life that is fulfilling and makes you relevant and gives you things to take on and challenge and achieve and get the satisfaction of success, a self-identity. And it's being done by people like me, where we made the determination to redesign, reimagine our lives. So what this video is about is giving you this kind of awareness, which is where it all starts. It's where it started for me 15 years ago, when I'm like, I need to change my life. I needed to transform my life in all respects, not just money, that was part of it, but in terms of health and relationships and fulfillment and fun, all of the parts of life. So I'm giving you the awareness, which is where it all starts. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some ways to not only deepen that awareness, but then to get started on finding, a new way forward in life that's ideal for you. When I started out, my change in life, as I've talked about before, I realized that the previous major change in life, I didn't have the awareness I needed. I didn't see all of the possibilities. I didn't identify all of the things that I needed and wanted in my life. And therefore, too, I wasn't set up to really explore or become aware of the possibilities that I could make my life into, that were right for me. What I found is that there was a new reality. There was a new whole phase of life called olderhood. It wasn't just retirement. It wasn't the stereotype, the assumption or presumption that has been imbued into our psyches of what this phase of life is supposed to be. Decline, irrelevance, health problems, or for many people, not all, I honor those for whom traditional retirement is right, but that for so many people like me, and because of the way our society and the way humanity is now, that traditional retirement, it can be terribly unfulfilling for people. In fact, what I discovered was that a lot of people were going into retirement and having a year or two of the retirement honeymoon. I can get up whenever I want to. I can do whatever I want to. I don't have to go into work. But then it becomes the retirement nightmare, because the sheen has worn off. And people were actually saying, I'm failing at retirement. How the hell can you fail at retirement? It's like falling off a log. Well, that log's on a cliff and you just fell off the cliff. Because what people and the studies and surveys and showed this, we're feeling a lack of purpose, a lack of relevance, a lack of fulfillment, a lack of a reason to get out of bed in the morning other than for a tea time at the golf course. And they were losing their self-identity. Now, granted, some of that is because with many of us, our work is our self-identity. But if you replace it with a new self-identity, if need be, this may be even better, and probably is better and right for you if you go through these processes that I'm talking about, that it's like, these are the best years of my life. That's where I came up with the attitude for myself that I share with you, that this phase of life can be your turn. Hey, you're older now, which means you know more about yourself and about life and what you want and what you don't want. And the way that the world is set up in economies and technology and business and what other people are doing, this is a mega global trend. Again, Stanford University has identified this as an entirely new phase of life. I call it Olderhood. That it's an opportunity to reimagine, redesign, reassert, revitalize your life. An opportunity to choose a way forward that's ideal for you. Because again, people 50 years old going, I'm getting old. Hey, what if your life is only half over? And I'm not just talking about lifespan, I'm talking about health span. Health span is defined that you're healthy, that you're active, that you're independent, that you're overwhelmingly able to do what you want to do. And hey, guess what? When you're living a life that you like, if you're pursuing what you want, that actually improves your health. I mean, here's what happened for me. When I started this process, and first of all, I realized after making a huge mistake years ago, back in 1989, when I needed to make a transformation, I didn't do any of this stuff. I just thought, what can I do? Oh, here's something. I can do this work. I can earn a living doing this. It may even be fun, and it was at times. But I didn't think about my whole life. Better turn around here. And I didn't make the right choice. So I decided I wasn't going to do that again. I was going to really think holistically what my whole life is like. That's really worth looking at. And it's about the life wheel, the wheel of life as it's called, in which it's a circle. And you got these 8 pizza slices in it. And each one represents an aspect of your life: health, career, income, relationships, family, fun, personal growth. You can even put in your own categories if you want. 10 concentric circles, and you're going from 1 in the middle to 10, you rank where you are in your life. But just looking at it, if I had looked at it back in 1989, I would have made a different path. I would have seen how my whole life works. So going back to the awareness thing, when you realize the fact that this is what people are doing, this is the new reality, this is the new opportunity that has never existed before for us to live the kind of life that we want. When you realize that, it opens up a world of possibilities. But a lot of people don't do it. A lot of people aren't even aware of it, which is why I'm giving you this awareness that this opportunity exists. Because for me, it really did change my life, just starting out from it. So for instance, my health. Health is critical. And I said that this feeds health, but you still got to take steps. Well, I started thinking, if I want to pursue this, and then if I want to enjoy it, I've got to be in good health. Motivation. And what I started doing is I started taking 10,000 baby steps every day. I thought, what's one healthy thing I can do today? Well, a lot of those little things became habits. And I got into the groove. I got into the habit of doing healthier things, whether it be exercise or the food that I was eating. I started getting into it by researching stuff and learning about stuff, taking control of my own health. And now I'm in some of the best health of my life. This attitude also is how we see ourselves. Now, what's been imbued upon us from the day that we were born is this stereotype of being older. Being old. Notice the difference between the two words. When you say older, it's ambiguous. It's like, well, it depends on the person. But if I say he's old, what do you think of? Decline, mental issue, cognitive issues, and things of that sort. So I had a change of attitude. And here's what it was, or here's how I encapsulate it. When people ask how old I am, I want to say, and granted, it's a little pretentious, it's a little like Mr., Wordsmith statement or whatever. But I want to say, when they say, Paul, how old are you? And I'm like, in what way? What are you talking about? And I said, well, there's my chronological age. And believe me, look in the mirror, what happened to the hair? All that kind of stuff. Yeah, I am that age. And yes, there are some effects of it. But in terms of my health, my bio age as it's called, well, my doctor says that I'm 25 years younger and I'm in better health than a lot of his patients that are that age. And when it comes to my heart, when it comes to my head, I'm still the guy in that essence that I was in my 20s, in my 30s. We don't change that much unless we think we're supposed to. So I still have that drive. I still have that desire to be relevant, to make an impact, to invent, to create. All of those things that I've identified that are really important to me. Sorry, there's a roadrunner over there. That's pretty cool. So that attitude that the essence of me hasn't changed. And by the way, let's now say that I have decades of skill and creative development and improvement to make things happen better than I could have in my 20s. It's a real truth, because I got to tell you, and I talk to so many people who are my age, a little younger, a little older, and I say, do you feel or perceive yourself the way that you thought that you would when you hit this age? And almost everyone's like, no, I don't feel like an old guy. But I'm wanting to say, you're acting like one, because that thing that's imbued upon us from movies and television shows and marketers and business and the examples of maybe our parents and our grandparents, I don't know if you could ever come up with research that would be legitimate for this, but I think a lot of people become old because they think they're supposed to. Older people are some of the most ageist people out there. It's like, oh, I'm having a senior moment, I forgot my keys. Well, when I was 25, I forgot where I put my keys. And in terms of my health, well, I'm still totally active. I can still do a full golf swing. I play racquetball. But I even did it just a couple of weeks ago. I got up out of bed, it's like, oh boy, I'm getting old. And it's like, wait a minute. You played racquetball for an hour and a half, starting at 5 o'clock the day before, against two good players. You won 2 of the games, and it was pretty intense, and I'm sore. And there were times in my 20s when I woke up feeling like this. The good sore, by the way, from working out. Attitude, belief, false belief, bringing awareness to those things and going, hey, wait a minute, maybe this time in life, it can be my turn. Maybe because I'm older and I know more about myself and about life and about the world, and this world that's now set up to basically enable me to make a major transition or pivot or transformation, that maybe The only thing is up here. And now I've got the awareness of what the possibilities are, that I can make this time of life as my turn, and I can put in the time and the effort and the focus to reimagine, redesign, and reconsider what I want my life to be like. Maybe, as I'll go into now, I can use some of these things that Paul talks about in terms of what motivated him to go through the process of identifying what that right life is, and then obviously going through the process of making it happen. So when you start doing the where attention goes, energy and focus flows thing, and you start trying to imagine, what would I really like? It can take a while. I mean, you got to start kind of peeling the onion. You got to kind of start going through the old false beliefs and assumptions and presumptions about yourself and life. But when you start imagining, when you start daydreaming, just like a kid, you know, for me, growing up in Dallas, throwing the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl for the Cowboys. Okay, that wasn't in my future, but that was fun to fantasize and think about it, except now you're fantasizing and thinking about something that you could have. Or you look at that wheel of life thing and you say, what does good health look like? What does it feel like? What would it be like? Or friends and family, or recreation, or the relationships, or what I want to do to make a difference, or have a purpose, or pursue. And you start actually thinking about it. And the more you do it, the more you start thinking, even without trying, in the shower, in the car, whatever. You get excited. You get motivated. You want to do it. And you are changing your mind and your psyche and things of that sort. That starts leading you to where you want to be and where you want to go. And the other thing that really worked well for me too is that in trying to figure it out, I came up with this really great baseline. And what it was that I said, wait a minute, you know, maybe one way to start figuring this out is to think, how do I want to feel every morning when I wake up about my life and about myself? Now, you need to come up with your own. But I thought, I got to be really basic and fundamental here. And that was actually a little challenging. But this is what I came up for me. Number one was that I woke up. I didn't die in my sleep. Okay, that's pretty fundamental, but it's legitimate. Then number two, I feel great. I'm in great health. I'm able to do what I want to do, whether I'm 50 years old or 95 years old. And I love what I'm doing. I love the way I have designed my life. I love the way that I took charge and I'm in control of my life, and I love the way that it is. It's not going to be perfect. I'm still going to be pursuing and challenging stuff. That's part of life, and in fact, that's even part of the fulfillment of life. Then the other thing is that I'm excited about today. Whatever the heck it is I'm doing, whether I'm going for a walk and visiting friends, or whether, you know, I've got a big thing that I got to do, whatever the heck, or it's just one of those average days. I love it. And then the last thing was that I'm not worried about money. I don't need a place out here. I wouldn't mind that one. I don't need a place out here. I don't need a Ferrari. I just don't want to deal with any money concerns. That was my foundation to build from. It was also a filter. If I thought about something and it's like, well, but that's not good for my health or whatever, it's like, throw it out. And you know, our mind and our spirit is a wonderful thing. You do these basic things with having the awareness of the possibility that it exists. You do things such as I mentioned in terms of envisioning and actually thinking about what it is that you want. In another video, I've talked about writing a thank you note from your older self to your younger self. And links to this in the Wheel of Life or in the description or in the comments section. You start identifying those things. That thank you note from my older self to my younger self, my current self, was basically outlining for me everything that I did, and in general terms, I couldn't put in stock tips or things like that, but basically told me what I wanted in life and what I needed to do. I mean, it was magical how it worked, and I've rewritten it a few times. Sorry again. You start doing those things, you're on your way. Now, I list a lot of other methods to have a happier, better, healthier life today, and other ways of identifying what it is that you want and how to pursue it. But this is the first really, really big step. And it all comes back to getting rid of the old stereotype of the seasons of life, which is very poetic, but it doesn't have to be true. Yeah, it can apply, but there's another way to look at it.
Take advantage of whatever season you're in and your older age. I mean, if that's 40s, 50s, 60s, or whatever. Rethink, refire, rewire, because now you've reached the point in your life where you can do new things and have the best years of your life. And when it does come to, the season that you're in, embrace it, enjoy it, make the most of it. Make that a part of your new way forward.